All right, everyone, it's 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Fagan-Fry. I am the NOAA Institutional Repository Manager, and I am also a metadata and cataloging librarian here at the NOAA Central Library in Silver Spring. Today, we are going to take about 30 minutes, and we are going to go over some basic PDF editing for Section 508 compliance. Again, we only have 30 minutes, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take any questions. I'm certain everyone has questions. So Judith Salter, one of our other librarians here, is monitoring our chat and question panel in the webinar. If you have a question, please put it in the question panel. All of those will actually be emailed to me after the webinar is over. That way I can see your question, respond to you directly, and get you the answers you're looking for. Again, today we only have 30 minutes, so I won't be taking any questions live. So again, please put them in the question panel. They will get to me and I can get you a response. Again, this webinar is going to be recorded. We are going to post it on the library's website. I am also going to post it here on the Section 508 compliance subject guide that I've created. I'm sure a number of you have been to it, you have seen it. On here, I have information about creating accessible documents, web page accessibility, tools for checking accessibility. I also have a section that links to all of the Section 508 brown bags and seminars. Once we are done here today and we have everything recorded and a transcript up, we will be posting it on this page as well as the library's brown bag page and archives. So I think we will get started. I see people are still coming in. Hello to all of those people, but I am going to get started just because we have a lot to go over. So what I'm going to do today is just walk you through some really common things that problems in Section 508 accessibility issues that we have noticed a lot of people are having when they're submitting documents to the library. So what I have here is the NOAA PAR plan pulled up. This document is not 508 compliant, so we're going to make it compliant today. To start, I have Adobe open. I have the document open in Adobe Acrobat Pro 2017. And what I need to do is open up the Accessibility Toolbar. So to start, on the right-hand side, you'll see this menu panel here. If you click on More Tools, it will bring up a whole list of a number of toolbars, and things that you can add to your main menu bar. If you go under Protect and Standardize, you'll see this option for accessibility. If you click on Add, it just drops it right into your main toolbar. What I'm going to do is open up Accessibility. It'll take me back to my document, and it changes my right-hand menu here. You'll see an option for Auto Tag Document, Reading Options, the full check for the accessibility report, a copy of the accessibility report that you're going to run, and a few other options that we'll go to throughout the course of this. So what I'm going to do is run this full check to start. If you click on full check, you'll get a dialog box. This dialog box shows all of the options that you can choose when you are running an accessibility check. I tend to run everything, so it has checking options 32 of 32. I run everything. I like to know everything that is wrong with my document. I want to stress the library only checks for 5 main things at this point in time when it comes to accessibility. Document properties, the document is tagged, the correct and logical reading order. We look for alternative text for figures and charts, and we check bookmarks for documents. In terms of bookmarks, which we are going to go over, if the document is under 20 pages, it does not require bookmarks, but we'll go over that in a moment. So from here, I'm going to start my check by clicking the Start Checking button. It runs through every element on all the pages, so sometimes it takes a moment. If it's a larger document, you'll have to be patient. Once it's run the check, it brings up this new panel on the left-hand side, and this is your accessibility checker. If there is a problem with any of the elements, it will be bolded. So under our document, there are 3 issues. Page content has 4 issues, so on and so forth. So we're just going to start right at the top. We're going to start with document issues. When you open it up, any check marks show that item has passed, so you don't need to worry about it. If there's a question mark, this usually means that it requires a manual check. A manual check means you're going to have to go through and look at the, in this instance, the reading order, look through each of those elements manually. Color contrast is a similar thing. You will always have these two things as a needs manual check. It's something the system cannot check for. When you're looking at color contrast, you want to make sure all the text is readable. You want to try to avoid the red-green contrast for people who are colorblind. Make sure your background doesn't overpower your text itself. So we're going to start with this X here for title. The title has failed. This is part of your document properties on the item. In the document properties, we look for two things: that the document has a title in the title field and that the language has been identified in the item. Here you'll see the primary language has passed, so we don't need to worry about that, but we do need to edit the title and make sure the title shows up in the document properties. When you're in Adobe, whether it's the Pro 2017, Acrobat 9, all you have to do is hover over the item and right-click on the item. In this option, or in this instance for title, if you simply click Fix, it will fix the item for you. There's also an option to skip the rule, which I don't recommend, and Explain. If you click on Explain, it will open up the Adobe documentation and take you to that particular section within the documentation. So if we were to click on this, it would take us to the section on title and document properties. It'll explain why you need to do that and how to do so. Since there is an option here to fix, I'm going to click on Fix. Again, it runs through all the pages, it fixes it, and once it does, you'll see a little check mark shows up. So now we have fixed the document properties. If you right-click on the document itself and you go down to Document Properties, you'll see under Description, the title has been added. So now that we've addressed all the issues in Document, I'm going to come down here to Page Content. You'll see that it says 4 issues. We have Fail for tagged content, tagged annotations, and tab order. You'll also see a question mark here for navigation links. Excuse me. Again, the navigation links are these are internal links. So what it's telling you need to do is make sure that your table of contents, if it's bookmarked to sections in the document, that those link to the appropriate places. If you have hyperlinks in the document, that those are working correctly and going to the correct page. This is something you need to do manually. Again, the system can't do it for you. So I'm just going to start here at the top, and we're going to start with tagged content. Tagged content is something that will have to be fixed for all items. It is something that we check for when we are running our checks for the NOAA Institutional Repository submissions. So when I click the drop down, it shows me there are 6 elements. When you click on the element, it will highlight it in the document. So the title of this page is not tagged. What it means by tagged content, it means there are elements and content on the page that have not been assigned a tag. So it hasn't been assigned a heading, or it hasn't been assigned as a figure, a table, whatever it may be. So it appears when you click through all of these, none of the content on this page has been tagged appropriately. So we're going to fix that. I'm going to start with this first one. When you are fixing tagged content, you have to make all these changes in the reading order section. So what I'm going to do is come back over to my Accessibility main menu bar over here and click on Reading Order. This is going to bring up a new Reading Order dialog box. I'm going to move it over here so everyone can see what I'm doing. In the Reading Order dialog box, you have a couple options. I'm going to jump down here to the bottom where it shows Show Page Content Groups. This is going to show you what you have. 2 options. You can either look at the order of the items or the structure types. So right now I have it on structure types, and since none of these elements are tagged, nothing is showing up. So I'm going to tag these items. Up at the very top, there's the option for draw a rectangle around the content, then click one of the buttons below. There's a little button here. If you click on that, it gives you the option to begin drawing your rectangles. So what I'm going to do is draw a rectangle around my title. And notice all those buttons that were grayed out are now available. What I'm going to do is select the tag for this item. So for this content, because it's the title, I want to make it some form of a heading. So I'm going to select heading 1. And now you can see the structure type appears here. So I'm going to continue on with all the elements. So I'm going to click my button up here so I can create another new content container. I'm going to draw the container around this subtitle. I'm going to do the same thing, although since it's a subtitle, I'm going to nest the heading appropriately and use heading 2. So now I have heading 1, heading 2. I'm going to come down here to this content, and I'm going to do it all in one big group. And I'm going to list this as a paragraph just because I need the screen reader or Adobe Read to just read through this information. So I have it marked as a paragraph. This content up here, I'm going to do something similar. We're just going to draw a rectangle around it, assign a tag. Depending on the document, you might need to do a heading 4, a heading 5. It depends on what the document is. This is just sort of the process to add in these tags. And finally, I'm going to tag my figure here. Logos in the library, we tend to tag as figures. You will notice it comes up as a figure with no alternative text. That means we're going to have to add alt text to this item, but we'll do that in a moment. So as you can see, now I've tagged all of this content. Each item has its own tag. It's a recognized element. I'm going to go back down here to where it says show page content groups, and now I want to look at the content order. This is essentially your reading order for these elements. And as you can see, it starts with 5, 4, 1, 3, 2. That is not the reading order I would like it to be in. So I'm going to close out of this panel, and I'm going to come over here all the way to the left. Down the side, you'll see a number of icons. Currently, we're in this one. This is the Accessibility Checker Report icon. I'm going to come down here to the Z, the 4 boxes with the Z. This is your reading order. When you come to reading order, it will show each page, and it will show each content element, each container. If you need to adjust reading order, you can simply click and drag things. So I'm going to put the image first. It's the first thing on the page. It's the first thing someone would read. So I'm going to move it way up to the top. Now my image is 1, and you can see it corresponds here. The 1 here, image. So now I want this NOAA Research Council, Silver Spring, blah, 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 with the DOI information. I want that to be the second thing that's read. So I just drag it up to that position. So now the title would be the third thing, and that's already in the 3rd position, so I don't need to move anything. But what it's done is it's moved the prepared by info above the subtitle. So again, we're just going to click, we're just going to click and then drag and drop it into the proper place. Now I've altered the reading order for this. This can be done on any page. It can be done at any point in time. You just have to be in reading order. Sometimes when it comes to reading order, one of the biggest problems we have seen is that an image will have a figure or an image will have a caption, and sometimes it will flip the image and the caption reading order. If that happens, you can fix it. You don't have to fix it. We do not fail people based on that alone. But if I had left this reading order how it initially was, we would have failed that because it is not in a logical reading order. So from there, okay, now that we have all of this content tagged and everything is in the appropriate reading order for this page, I'm going to go back to our Accessibility Checker report, and I'm going to move, excuse me, I'm going to move on to the next element, which is tagged annotations. Notice this particular element is actually that DOI that we included in that paragraph, and it's already part of the reading order. So I'm actually not going to do anything with this at this point in time. I'm going to leave it. I know that DOI is included in the reading order. I know a screen reader or Adobe Read is going to read through and catch that information and convey it to someone with a visual impairment. So I'm not going to do anything with it right at the moment. So I'm going to move down to tab order. When you click on tab order, there's a problem with this first page yet again. Tab order refers to the order in which elements are moved through when you use tab on the keyboard. So for people who are unable to use mice, people who rely on keyboard navigation. Much like document type, if you right click on this, you have the option for fix. Simply click on fix and you will get a dialog box that says tab order set to match structure, blah, blah, blah. It's essentially telling you we fixed the tab order, it matches the structure of the document. I'm going to click OK. And that element should be fixed. At this point in time, since I've gone through and tagged elements, I've altered some reading order, I'm going to rerun my accessibility check just to make sure I haven't messed anything up. So I just go back over to full check, I click full check, start checking, and we will see what happens. You will see that some things have disappeared or been marked as okay. The document issues is now gone down to 2. Page content is now down to 2. Notice the tagged content now has a green check mark. Same with tab order. As I mentioned, I'm going to pass over this tagged annotations. It is part of the reading order in a different container. I'm not going to worry about it. We still have that navigational link thing. Again, that's that manual check. So we can move on to the next element, which is this alternative text. When you click on the arrow, it will show you all the alternate figures that require alternative text. In this item, there's only one. When you right click on it, it gives you the option to fix, skip, rule, explain, just like the other ones. For alternative text, I recommend clicking fix. What it will do is it will bring up a dialog box where you can enter the alternative text for the image. If there is more than one image, it will have image 1 of 30. You put in your text. So this is a NOAA logo. I'm just going to label it as a NOAA logo. And I'm going to click Save and Close. If there were more images that required alternate text, this would not be grayed out. You'd have an arrow here. You could just click the arrow, move on to the next image, add the alt text. And you can do that until you're completed with all of them. Then you click Save and Close. It runs through the whole document one more time. And now you can see we have a green check mark. You will notice that there are table issues. I've mentioned before, we do not focus on tables. Table issues are difficult and tricky. So if your document has all other elements passing, but there is a problem with tables, either headers, a summary, regularity, we will not fail a document based on tables alone at all, ever. We will not kick anything back to you because of tables. So I'm actually going to leave this because we don't focus on tables. That's not one of the elements that we are concerned with. Also, headings. The problem with these headings is it's saying they are inappropriately nested. What that means is someone used heading 1 and then instead of moving to a heading 2, they moved to heading 6. Again, this is not something we check. It is not, it's a level triple, a level AAA requirement in terms of Section 508. So it is not a required element. We do not check it. We do not fail people on it. So if this comes up in your check, you can ignore it. The other thing we will check, though, is bookmarks. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the little bookmark icon. If you click on this, it will bring up all the items, excuse me, all the elements that have been tagged as bookmarks in this document. Bookmarks should be logical. They should follow the structure of the document. Generally, we recommend that people follow their table of contents. So I'm going to scroll down here to the table of contents for the power plan. And you'll note that, indeed, these bookmarks mirror what the table of contents says. We also will do a quick check. We will click on them and make sure that the bookmarks go to the correct page. Oops. So as you click through, you can see these are skipping to that section that they say they should skip to. And the last thing that we will check in a document is the reading order. So again, we're going to go back to this reading order section here. Sorry, I'm going to scroll back up to the top page. Excuse me. So within reading order, on each page, like I showed you earlier, it shows each element. It gives each element a number, and it'll show you what number those are in. We will check through each page and make sure everything is in a logical order, a logical reading order. So page 2, oops, page 3, page 4, so on and so forth. And you can see everything's going 1, 2, 3, 4. This one has an odd thing in it. Notice 5 is kind of here in the middle of a sentence. What you can do, excuse me, is go over here and you'll see the containers, right? So 1 is going to have this top, this bulleted list here. 2 appears to be blank, which it does right there. We don't need that. It's just an extra element that's around. So to get rid of items like that, sometimes there's an extra space that's been added into a document. You'll want to get rid of these. If you right click on it, you can delete selected item structure. This will remove that element from your reading order. Now it moves everything down, so on and so forth. All right. So then we would continue on through the rest of this document, just checking the reading order. Normally we would go through every page, but just in the interest of time, I'm only going to go through these few. And then ultimately we would, once these changes have been made, if this document in this state were to be submitted to the repository, we would deem it 508 compliant and accept it. So I'm going to go to one other document. I'm not going to do the full shebang on this one, but I am going to show you how to do bookmarks. Since our other document already had bookmarks, I want to show you how to do bookmarks in a document that does not already contain them. Again, I'm going to go to Accessibility. I'm going to do my full check. I start checking. Notice there's a bunch of issues. This one is also missing the title. This one has a manual check for navigation. Alternative text is missing for a couple items. Those are going to be handled the same way we did on the PAR plan. In this one, though, you'll notice when I come up to bookmarks, there are no bookmarks. There's nothing here. So I want to show you how to add in bookmarks from a document that does not contain them at all. Okay. I'm going to start from the home page. Excuse me, the title page of the document. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can come over to this menu, the bookmarks menu, and click on new bookmark. You have an option for new bookmarks from structure, or you have the option to click on this icon here with a bookmark and the little plus sign, meaning add a new bookmark. I would like to distinguish between new bookmark and new bookmarks from structure. You can always do it from structure, and I'm going to click on that to show you. However, that means you need to make sure your document has proper structure elements like headings, tables, figures, heading 2, heading 3. Everything is structured properly. In this document, it is not structured that great. Also, you should never select all when you are doing bookmarks from structure. If you select all, it will tag as a bookmark every single paragraph, every single annotation, every single space mark, every single table and figure and caption. That would render the bookmarks not very meaningful and would hinder the ability to aid navigation. So please do not select all when you're tagging bookmarks from structure. I'm going to show you how to just add a new bookmark from scratch. I'm going to go up here, click new bookmark. Whoops. Let me delete that one. So I have my new bookmark. If you click on it, you can change the title or change the name of the bookmark. For this, I'm just going to put title page. You can put the actual title itself, title page, cover, anything to indicate this is the beginning of the document. I'm going to click off of it, and then I'm going to right click on it. And what I want to do is set the destination. I want to make sure that this bookmark links to the correct page. So I'm going to go to set destination, and a new dialog box opens, and it says, are you sure you want to set the destination of the selected bookmark to the current location? It's title page bookmark. This is the title page. That is where I want it to go. So I'm going to click yes. Now that I have that one done, I'm going to add another bookmark. So I'm going to actually use this one now, and you'll see it just drops a new one in there. And I'm going to do table of contents, because this document has a table of contents. Excuse me. And I'm going to actually scroll to the table of contents. Again, I'm going to right click on the bookmark, go to set destination, and then it's going to ask me, do I want to make sure, or do I want to set this destination to the current page? I'm on the table of contents page. It's a table of contents bookmark. I'm going to say yes. Now you can check. That goes back to the title page. This takes me to the table of contents. I would continue on with that. I'd do background, scope, sources reviewed, and I would, before I created the bookmark, move the document to each of those sections. It makes it a little bit easier when you're setting the destination, and so on and so forth. So with that, and I have like 4 minutes to spare on my 30-minute time limit, I'm going to stop there. Again, if you have questions, if there are elements that I didn't go over, please put it in the question panel. I am going to review all of those. We're also going to use those questions to devise another one of these workshops where we can sit down and go through and remediate yet another document or documents. Hopefully next time we can set aside a little bit more time than 30 minutes. If you have any other questions, comments, or anything, you can always email me. My email is jennifer.fagan-fry@noaa.gov. You can also check the Section 508 subject guide that we've created for you. This, again, the recording for this will be posted up here. I have also created a how-to manual that mirrors everything that I just did. This will be available on the Section 508 guide. It is available through the registration for this webinar, and it is available on the library's brown bag site underneath this webinar's heading. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming. I appreciate it. Again, please let me know if you have more questions or any concerns. And I hope everyone has a good day. Thanks.